Hi guys, Kaze here. Welcome back. We're back with some more Office Lovers. We're doing the extras from Mr. Saijo. So let's see what happens in our secret narratives there. And of course, enjoy our gallery photos as well. So let's get started. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below and give a like if you enjoy it. And let's get started. My caged princess. Who caged me? Months had passed since we had become an official couple. Since we were in different departments, the rule against dating didn't apply anymore. Not everyone in the company knew about us, but everyone we worked with did. Mr. Saijo used that as an excuse to do embarrassing things from time to time. I loved him, so I couldn't hate him for doing it, but I preferred him not to act like that in front of other people. But no matter how much I told him that, he never listened. What's with you? Staring off into nowhere. Nothing, I was just thinking. It's just the two of us in the meeting room. The situation was right for him to go wild and crazy, but he didn't for one reason. Tomorrow we would be giving a presentation about the new project plan. Since we'd be talking to the CEO, Mr. Saijo was behaving better than usual today. That covers the bases. Did you have anything else you want to add? The process was explained at this point, so I'd like to point out Plan A on the right there. Made no sense to me whatsoever, but I'll go with it. Not a bad idea. It would drive our point home. I also think that we should bring up the color development and potential candidates. If you want to do that, it might be better to use Plan B instead. Alright. Our work on the presentation went smoothly as usual. We were so in tune with each other when we worked, knowing that made me happy. Shall we do a test run with all the changes put in? Sure. I closed the curtains, bringing the room into darkness. My heart started to beat faster. With Mr. Saijo in work mode, I didn't have to worry about him, but it happened on reflex. I glanced at him while getting prepared. His dignified face was bathed in light from the computer screen. It seemed like I was the only one who was thinking about things other than work. I couldn't help but think he looked so cool and concentrating, though he always looked cool. What's wrong? Nothing. I couldn't believe how I was acting right now. I turned back to work and tried to concentrate. When our rehearsal finished a few hours later, we returned to the office. You've become a lot more bold lately. You used to be so shy and timid. I used to worry about you all the time during presentations. Yeah, thanks. I've been practicing presentations at home, too. I picked up some software that's supposed to help on a good deal. That's great. I'm proud. He put his hand on my head and stroked my hair. I heard somewhere it wouldn't calm down when someone did that. It seemed to be working. In my case, it was super effective since it was Mr. Saijo doing it. Did you fall asleep? Your eyes are closed. Sorry. I'm glad you can relax like this with me, but it's a shame we're at work. Yeah. I walked back to my desk with a slight blush on my face. He was right. We were at work and had things to do. We still had to go over some changes that we made and double-check them. I know we just looked at it, but page 3 still seems a bit hard to understand to me. I agree. Splitting into paragraphs might work. I'll break them apart right here. Okay, I still think it needs a little bit more of an explanation, though. You mean the spot where we had trouble on during the rehearsal? I'll fix that. Thanks. I spent quite a while making the final changes. When I finally finished, it was already late. It took longer than I expected. I carried the papers to his desk so he could look at them. A few minutes later, it looks good. No problems. He smiled at me. Great, thanks. All that left is to knock it out tomorrow. Yeah, I'm so nervous though. Don't worry. I'll be with you. We will be fine. These words are exactly the same thing I had said to myself after being picked for the team. It wasn't a coincidence. I had almost felt like fate. I nodded firmly at him. Tomorrow would go well. It had to. The next day, we were in Mr. Otori's office. Though Mr. Saijo was presenting most of it, there were some parts where I had to speak. Practicing at home helped, but there were still parts that I needed Mr. Saijo's help. Otherwise, it went pretty well, and we finished without a hitch. That was good. You did well. Thank you. I listened to their conversation without opening the curtains. Good job, Sakiko. The documents were easy to understand and will help when we go to promote it. Huh? I don't deserve the credit. It was only following Mr. Saijo's advice. I don't think so. I know what you can do. I've seen the files you sent to Mr. Hyoga. Are you talking about the ones from before the project started? The marketing papers? I've seen those too. What? When I wrote that, I had no idea it would be passed around the company for everyone to see. I'm sorry for making this without permission. Don't be. They were good. I even heard they were pretty helpful, right? Of course. Thank you. You should take more pride in your work. When you two are done cleaning, come over here. We cleaned up the projector and walked over to Mr. Otori. He was still looking at the papers. I felt nervous just waiting there. I would like to give you a proposal some more thought before I decide anything. Good work. Hearing the good news, Mr. Saijo and I exchanged smiles. I know you didn't have much time to prepare, but the presentation was excellent. I'm very proud of you two. When he started putting the papers away, I could finally relax. That's enough about work for right now, so relax. Shall we talk about Sakiko now, Mr. Saijo? What was there to talk about? Had I done something? In other words, what? Come on, you know what I mean. Though Mr. Otori was smiling, Mr. Saijo had a dubious look on his face. What? I had no idea what was going on, so I just waited and listened. Apparently, Mr. Otori had more things he wanted to talk to us about. Of all things, it was something about me. I was clueless, but even Mr. Saijo looked like he had no idea what was going on. It sure is hard to believe. Mr. Otori stood up straighter. It made us even more nervous. That is, how cute you've become lately. Huh? What? He looked at me with a wide smile. For the longest time, you were marketing's own plain girl who never wore makeup. I was shocked when he called me plain. Is that what they thought of me? I had no idea. Mr. Otori. No, don't get me wrong. I meant it in a good way. A good way, trust me. How could plain be meant in a good way? Mr. Otori? It is simple. I mean natural. But natural beauty kind of thing. I see. I just wanted to point out that she looks very lovely with makeup too. Mr. Saijo? He was facing Mr. Otori with his back to me. I couldn't see his face. When I called his name, he turned around. Yes. When I saw his big smile, I relaxed. For some reason, it felt like he was surrounded by a cold aura just before. Maybe it was just my imagination. It was thanks to Mr. Saijo who showed me my potential. I guess that's true then. A girl in love becomes more beautiful. No, that isn't what I meant. He showed me how to put on lipstick and all sorts of things. I corrected myself, and Mr. Otori nodded as he hugged me with a huge smile. Mr. Saijo listened to us, looking a bit pleased, but shy. After listening to your presentation, I came up with an idea. I want to see what you think of it. Yes? He suddenly switched back to talking about our work, making us scramble for our notes. How'd you like to work on a makeup for a mini-book? Me? Yes, it'll come with a mini-book novelty gift. We don't have enough novelty items, and I think that you possess knowledge to help women change themselves. Wearing a big smile, he explained his idea to Mr. Saijo. I think it would be a great idea. If you can change someone like me, you can change any girl. If you say so, I can't refuse. You should do it, for sure. As Mr. Otori told us more, we took notes in our notebooks. Working on a novelty item sounded like a lot of fun. I had no idea something like this would happen. Thank you for the opportunity. It's our company's duty to change as much women's lives as we can for the better. I couldn't agree with him more. See, I'm not all that bad after all. I always thought you were a wonderful person. Same here. You two are very kind. Otori looked at Mr. Saijo with a serious face again. You changed one woman's life, now go change the rest. I will. He nodded for me at Mr. Otori. It seemed to me that Mr. Otori trusted him more than ever. That girl was the most beautiful in the company. She looks good in makeup and has wonderful style. I completely agree, but I'd like to know something. Yes, what? Mr. Saijo looked straight at Mr. Otori. What do you mean by style? Mr. Saijo's face looked terrifying. Even Mr. Otori was taken aback. I rushed to jump in between them. Mr. Saijo's face was getting scarier by the moment. I jumped in between them to try and settle him down. What's wrong? He gently pushed me aside and stood in front of me again. Sorry for interrupting, but don't be shy. You're part of this team too. Right, Mr. Otori. That's right. In a team of men, she's our one and only beautiful flower. Well spoken. She truly is like a flower, but what were you saying about her style? Like, why are we about to start a fight over style? Would you care to elaborate? I couldn't see his face, but I knew from his voice he was verging on anger. It's nothing. She came to work wearing casual clothes before, on the weekend. Yes. Like usual, Mr. Otori talked with a big smile on his face. He seemed to be struggling this time. And so, one of the times she came in, I saw her. That's it. I just noticed how stylish she was when she came to work that time. He's right. I've never seen Mr. Otori outside of the office. I see. Sorry, I misunderstood what you meant. When the subject of me came up, it only took one word to set him off. You shaved some years off me for that look. I'm glad it was settled peacefully. The Otori and I could finally relax as Mr. Saijo was finally smiling again. You're right, though. She is very cute and charming. However, we are already lovers. She is mine. What? I couldn't believe what he just said. My mouth hung open in disbelief. Even if you are the CEO, I will not hand her over to you. So keep your hands off her. He bowed deeply in front of Mr. Otori. All I could do was watch, still in shock. I had to have misheard that. There was no way he said that to Mr. Otori. I looked back and forth at each of their faces for an answer to my confusion. There was complete silence for a few seconds after Mr. Saijo said the unthinkable. It took me that long to snap out of my daze, and I had to say something. Mr. Saijo, how could you say that to him? I don't care how... Mr. Otori was looking at the ground when he made a strange sound. He must be furious. Why is there an O under my name? Random O! Mr. Saijo, so just stand there, apologize to him. Huh? It's been so long since I had a good laugh. He wiped away some tears and started laughing again. What was so funny? You've got some guts. I can't imagine anyone else saying that but you. I'm honored. Don't be. How could you say something like that to him? It's fine, really. As a man, I know where he's coming from. Okay. It doesn't matter what he's up against. He has the courage to stand up and fight. That kind of spirit is what we need more of in this company. I admire it. Can I say something? Go ahead. It's because of you that we can move forward. You steer us in the right direction. Without you, we would be lost. I hope that you will lead us for a very long time. I will follow your lead the entire way. I'll follow you through the fires of hell. Kaido. Mr. Otori. I'm just like, yeah, okay. The sunlight shone through the windows, shining upon their faces. The two of them shook hands. I didn't quite understand how male bonding worked, but I imagine it was something like this. It was just relief that nothing bad happened, and I let a huge sigh of relief. Oh, it's snowing under snow, yay. After our presentation and talk with Mr. Otori, we returned to our separate work. When work was over, we went home together as usual. What have you been sighing about? And it's someone else's fault. I won't mention any names. Jeez. We walked together, going through the exact opposite direction as my home. We'd be staying at Mr. Saijo's today. It would be my first time in a while. I felt sick when you told him about us. There's no way he didn't know about us already. Everyone else does. Why hide it? That's not what I mean. You... What? When you said to keep your hands off me and stuff. Oh, that? I grabbed my head in frustration. How could he not think it wasn't a big deal? Our position at work doesn't matter when talking about love. Besides, he leaned towards me. Do employees have to give their boss whatever they want, even if they don't want to? Of course not. But you know Mr. Otori wouldn't do such a thing anyway. It doesn't hurt to be cautious. It made me all the more embarrassed when he said that with a straight face. Just like he said, you've become beautiful. I was a little worried when I first met you, but what is that supposed to mean? But you sure do shine best after a little work. Just like I said, you're a beautiful little flower. No, that's wrong. You're my beautiful little flower. What's wrong? You're all red. It's nothing. I thought it'd be used to hearing lines like this by now. I was wrong. I blushed from ear to ear. I tried my best to hide my face while walking with him towards his home. It was nighttime in the city. There weren't many people out anymore, and voices carried quite a ways. But I am still worried. Huh? Why? I turn my face to look at him. What are you worried about? Oh. It wasn't often that he was at a loss for words. He looked at me with a solemn face. You are really close, and just... I like the look on your face. But you're really, really close. It isn't easy for me to say, but I'll try. Okay. After a few moments of silence, he muttered the same words again. I'm worried. Yeah? When I think of you running off with some other guy, I get worried. That will never happen. Don't you think I'm too arrogant? He looked at me with a worried smile. I wouldn't say arrogant, but you're just confident in what you do. Maybe, but I'm not as confident as you and everyone else thinks. Really? Especially my confidence as a man. I just don't know if we have what it takes to keep you by my side. Don't say things like that. His face looked pitiful, like he had given up. I didn't like to hear him talking like this. He squinted his eyes. At the same time, his smile disappeared. You know what? He grabbed both my shoulders and made me face him. Sometimes I think if it wouldn't be better to lock you away. That way you couldn't run off with some other guy. I want you to be mine forever. Mr. Saijo. I put my arm around him and rubbed his back to soothe him. If you think that's what it will take, so be it. I tightened my arms around him and held him close. I closed my eyes and held on to him until he was ready to speak again. I wanted to stay like this forever. Only in his arms could I truly relax. If he locked me away in his arms together, I wouldn't ever complain. He grabbed my shoulders again, so I opened my eyes and looked at him. I would love to lock you away, but it's not right to keep an angel prisoner. His words were odd, but I knew he was serious, and I shook my head no. His love was genuine, and that alone made me happy. It's fine. Lock me away. Don't say that. I can't do that to you. After a shout, he kissed my lips with passion. When he finally let go from the kiss, it looked like he was going to cry. I'm jealous and greedy, even though someday I want to have kids with you. I don't want them to take away my time with you. I don't want to let anyone have you. I want to steal your freedom. He kissed me between words. I had no chance to even speak, but it didn't matter what he said. My mind would never change. Instead of saying anything, I wrapped my arms around him instead. His lips broke from mine for a moment. Do you want to have children? He looked at me with puppy eyes and asked in a tiny voice. It was like, you look like a child. You're the only one who loves me as much as you do. You're the only one who tries so hard to get my attention. Someday I'd like to have children, but for now, I just want to spend every moment I can with you. Sakiko. He grabbed me tight and kissed me so wildly I couldn't breathe. So, if we buy a house together, can I lock you away there? Yeah, shyly. He really did look like a child when he acted like that. I wrapped my arms around his neck and held him tight. On a dark road far from the nightlife, away from the prying eyes, we hugged. Of course. He thought of me as his little flower. So, thanks. If that was what he wanted, I would blossom like a flower for him. Yay? I mean, it was sweet, but it's like, I need my freedom? Sweet! But yeah, don't lock me away from... That feels weird, but... You can... keep me? I don't know how to explain this. I don't know. I enjoyed it, but some of it was kind of weird. Anyway, let's move on to the date. True feelings on paper. That does it for the meeting. Thank you. Thank you. The meeting had run long, but it was finally over. It addressed the success of the Christmas sales and some documents Mr. Hyoga brought. This wasn't the first time I attended these kind of meetings, but I'd still felt nervous. I wish I could get over it already. If I had, I might have been able to speak up more at these meetings. It was my own fault, so it was silly to complain. I wrote down some notes and on an outline what happened at the meeting. As I was doing it, I felt someone looking over my shoulder from behind. Taking notes. You work too hard. It's a habit of mine. How about finding some more feminine hobbies? If you waste time on stuff like that, you'll be old before you know it. I don't make fun of yours, so I would appreciate if you don't make fun of mine. Ever since you started dating Mr. Saijo, you've become quite cheeky. Cheeky? I'm not. I guess you've become more like your hubby. My hubby? Caught off guard by the word, I dropped my pen by accident. You dropped this. Thanks. No problem. I'm heading out. He handed me my pen and I watched him leave before returning to my notes. I wonder what Mr. Saijo was doing. His seat was far from mine, so I hadn't paid much attention until now. I looked and saw him having a friendly chat with a female employee. He seemed to be enjoying it. They seemed to be talking about work. There's nothing wrong with it, but he just seemed to be having more fun than I'd like. I told myself not to worry about it and to trust him more. I tried to work on my notes some more, but I couldn't concentrate. I tried to work in vain, but until I got fed up and stood up from my chair. Mr. Saijo and the woman were laughing and talking about work. That's all they were doing, but I couldn't help but feeling irritated. I stood up and walked towards them. Okay. Hello. My face began to twitch. I had to control myself. I'm sure they were just talking about work. Hello, what are you talking about? Oh, I was asking Mr. Saijo if he could make a logo for a sign for me. A logo? Yeah, I heard he was really good at calligraphy, so I thought I would ask. He is. I had absolutely no idea. But some other woman knew something about him I didn't shock me. I'll have it to you before the deadline, okay? I need to get going now. That'd be great. Thanks. I need to go too. Alright. Take good care going home. You too. And Sakiko as well. I smiled back at her. Oh, yeah. What? I'm taking her home, so you don't need to worry about her. Thanks, though. Hey, I see. Well, goodbye. She glared at me before quickly leaving the meeting room. She had a thing for him. Oh. You didn't have to say that. Why not? Everyone knows we're together. But not everyone knows how much I care and that your safety means everything to me. So I let them know. I didn't want to remind her like that, but oh well. Shall we go? I didn't know if I was angry or happy with him. He took me by the hand. He led me out of the meeting room, my face turning slightly red on the way. I decided to ask Mr. Saijo more about what they were talking about. What does she mean by a logo? A while ago, I was leading the product, so why not do a logo too? I read the decision that they came to at a meeting. I can't let them down, so I'm going to do it. Oh. He leaned towards me and smiled. You were jealous, weren't you? I couldn't help it, even if it was work. Don't make that face, that makes me happy. Mr. Saijo. His smile helped me relax. I remember back when I was the jealous one. The fact that you were jealous over me makes me feel so happy. He kissed me on the brow. Hey, don't. No one's looking, it's fine. It's not like I kissed you on the lips. True. The sensation of his lips lingered on my brow. For some reason, it still tickled. When he arrived at the office, it was practically empty. After organizing a few things and cleaning up, I headed to his desk. He had a few things left to do, so I patiently waited for him to finish in a seat next to him. That only lasted a while until the urge to ask became too great to ignore. I didn't know you were good at calligraphy. I only told Mr. Kaido, so I have no idea why she would know that. Do you think she asked him? Probably. I can't think of how else. He probably opened his big mouth. Jealous. He knows so much more about you than I do. Sakiko. He turned towards me, surprised. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. It's not your fault. They had known each other a long time. It was only natural to know some things like that. Mr. Saijo put his arm around my shoulder. Before you think that, how else do you think I am with your parents and family? He smiled at me, making me blush. Some days later, I was invited to attend a meeting to discuss the logo. Mahiro and Mr. Saijo were already in their seats when I arrived. Good morning. Thanks for letting me sit in. Good morning. Glad you can make it. We had all been busy all morning. We hadn't even spoken to each other yet. We smiled at each other. What about me? No fair. All you care about is your boyfriend. That's not true. Good morning, Mahiro. Good morning. Have a seat. He pulled a chair out for me next to him. Not so fast. Her seat is right here. My girl gets a front row seat. But after hearing him say my girl made my heart skip a beat. But I didn't make any comment. Just I should put a seat next to him as well, and I wondered which to take. Won't she be in the way of your drawing? Besides, the ink might get on her. He's probably right. Though I wanted to watch him do it, I couldn't argue the truth. Plus, with Mahiro, I could be able to hear any comments or what he had to say. Saijo glared at us, rather than just at Mahiro. I'm not that sloppy. Getting ink everywhere is something only amateurs do. Sorry, I just assumed... No, you're fine. I'm talking to Mahiro. Huh? Yeah, I heard you. Sorry. It's settled. She will sit next to me. I decided to go with the flow and sit next to Mr. Saijo. Mahiro watched on, scratching his head. Just don't disturb me when I'm trying to concentrate. Got it. Alright. No, I didn't mean you. Just Mahiro. What's going on? Why everything directed towards Mahiro? What the heck? Why only me? I already said I got it. It's good that you learn quick. Mahiro and I stayed still and quiet as possible while watching Mr. Saijo work. Wow, you're really good. Mahiro, keep quiet. Oh, yeah. Mr. Saijo was warming up with some other drawings, but still it looked amazing. I'd never done calligraphy before, so I didn't know how good it was, but I was impressed. Mahiro whispered to me in a muffled voice. He seems like a different person when he's doing this. Mr. Saijo was concentrating on the drawing with the sunlight cast on his face. It made him look so elegant that I blinked in astonishment. He looked so cool right then. I'd almost forgotten that he looked so cool no matter what he did, though. I can see why you fell for him. He looks like a monk or something when he's like this. Tranquil. Calm? Yeah, like a monk. I was thinking more like a priest or a pastor. They don't do calligraphy. No, they don't, but he's like that. Tranquil and calm. I already told you that. I accidentally raised the tone in my voice and put my hand over my mouth. It was too late. Mr. Saijo was already staring at me. Thanks. Hearing that made me doing this worth it. I'm going to start now. Okay. Mahiro and I sat tall in our seats to get a better view of his work. I was like, what's going on? I watched the expression on his face and forgot all about the calligraphy. Looking into his calm eyes reminded me of when we were in bed together. And what in the world was I thinking about? That's what I'm wondering. It's like, calligraphy! Oh, that bedroom face. Oh yeah, it's like, what you thinking about? I shook my head to get rid of my naughty thoughts and looked back at the drawing. His hand gracefully glided across a sheet of paper. It was the same movement that he used when putting on my lipstick for me. I held my breath, memorized by his hands. Are you finished? Yeah, I think this one is the best. Saijo held the paper out so Mahiro could see. You only tried 3 times, is that enough? I decided on 3 before I had even started. If I don't set a limit, I'll be sloppy. Really? Well, that's just me personally. By the way, what are you here for, Mahiro? I only came to watch. Mr. Saijo laughed and Mahiro made a sad face. I'm a designer, you know? Oh, yeah, I forgot. It's your fault for not paying attention to anyone except Mr. Saijo. Sorry, I really am. Mahiro stood up and laid the drawing on the table in front of him. I might be able to use these as references, so do you mind if I take the other ones too? Sure, do whatever you want. I have no idea what it will be of any use to you, though. If I ignore the design aspect, they will all look the same to me. Maybe I should learn calligraphy too. You look so cool while doing it. Mahiro compared the drawings in silence. Since he was concentrating on his work, I decided to keep quiet. How are you feeling? Tired? That's my line here. I brought you some tea. Thanks. When I looked at his face, I noticed the slightest amount of sweat on his forehead. Stay still. Leaning towards him, I soaked up his sweat with a handkerchief. I could smell his cologne I loved. Thanks. So thoughtful, but he looked at me with passion in his eyes. It'd be better if you didn't touch me now. This meeting room brings back fond memories. I might lose myself. Okay. I pulled my hand away. Mahiro, who's been comparing Mr. Saijo's drawings, finally looked up. I think I'd like to borrow this one for reference. Alright, that one has the best overall balance in my opinion. You truly have talent. This goes way beyond mere penmanship. You're a maestro. That's for music. I see. I know what he's trying to say, though. I just can't put it in any other words. Not you, I was criticizing Mahiro. I get the feeling you've been singling me out from the very start. I have. Maybe I should draw some more. He took a sip of tea before sitting back down in his chair. What will you draw this time? No. Might as well, though, since the ink is here. So, can I watch up close this time? Sure, but why don't you sit in my lap and watch? I don't know about that. Fine, we can save that for when we're alone. He rubbed his hand across my thigh, making me jump. Mr. Saijo? Sorry. He turns his attention back to the paper, his expression changing to immense focus. He said I could watch close this time, so I didn't want to waste a chance. I'd always admired his handwriting since a long time ago. Instead of writing, it was as if his letters flowed across the paper. Of course, that itself was totally different than calligraphy. Is he doing more? Yeah, shh. Quiet and watch. What kind of drawing would he be creating this time? Mr. Saijo started to cover the white paper in black strokes. All he was drawing was letters, but my impression was completely different. Sakiko. Surprisingly, the ink didn't splatter anywhere. He was in complete control. Sakiko. I was truly impressed. Sakiko, are you listening? Yes? I'm at my limit here. I'm going to lose it. Oh! I drifted towards him closer and closer until I was right next to him. His triple face was only inches away from mine. I'm just like peering in, getting closer and closer. It felt so close that his eyelashes brushed against my cheek. Although I don't mind, I'm going to eat you right up. Shouldn't you save that for after work is over? My face got so hot that steam might come out of my ears. Sorry? Mahiro, look at that. What? Mr. Saijo pointed out the window and Mahiro turned to look. When he did, Mr. Saijo kissed me on the collarbone and sucked as hard as he could. What now? Hearing my scream, Mahiro turned back towards us. What happened? I saw a UFO. Mr. Saijo looked at me with a mischievous smile. The guy teased me way too much. Poor Mahiro was confused and curiously stared at my bright red face. I stood up from my seat, trying to hide my embarrassment. I have to leave now. Well, yeah, I'm done here. Take a look at it before you go. I drew some new ones. Is it from the one he drew earlier? He lifted it up and showed it to us. Mahiro and I focused in on it. This one is for you. And this is for Mahiro. That's the paper he handed to me. It read love. Love? Yes, love. I felt embarrassing to be given something like that. I wondered what sort of message Mr. Saijo drew for Mahiro. His read pest. Oh, poor Mahiro. Pest? Yes, pest. He smiled, quickly disappeared, and he glared at Mahiro. I felt a chill run down my spine. I've been doing work for a while, and all you two have been doing is screwing around. But we were talking about you. Even if you were, I don't like that you left me out of it. I thought you knew your place. Do I have to remind you again? He stood up from his chair in a clamor. It was so violent that both of their faces turned pale. But wait a second. I had almost forgotten to be scared since I liked him when he was angry. Mr. Saijo, violence is not an answer. What? I'm not going to be. Huh? Have I ever relied on violence? He turned to me with his usual confident expression. No, never. Since I'd known him, Mr. Saijo had never lost his temper and became violent. Right, and I never forget that. I felt relieved, but not for long before his face suddenly turned emotionless. And by the time I figured out he was up to something, it was too late. He leaned towards me and kissed me so forcefully that I couldn't breathe. His tongue pushed my mouth. It was so sudden and wild that tears forced in my eyes. When I looked around desperately, I realized that Mahiro was still here. He was staring right at me. I was struggling as hard as I could to free myself, but it was no use. When Mr. Saijo finally released me, I panted for breath. Did you get my message, Mahiro? Mr. Saijo kissed me again while he made some sort of hand signal at Mahiro. It was towards the exit. Fine, I get it. You can stop glaring at me now. I think not. I have all the right to. Mahiro collected his things and made for the door. He had to pass us to leave, and I didn't want to be seen anymore, so I closed my eyes. Sakiko. My lips were covered by Mr. Saijo, so I couldn't respond, but I peeked out of one eye. He had a huge smile and was giving me a thumbs up. Thanks? I didn't see anything, so don't worry, okay? I've got to go now. I couldn't believe what had just happened. Mahiro walked out of the room with some bounce in his step. Why was he so happy? Sakiko. He called me by my name with a seductive voice. I felt my body react to it. Yes? Mr. Saijo gave me the most angelic smile. The light behind him seemed like a halo. You've become more and more pretty lately. He was more responsible for bringing that change than I was. They say that insects are attracted to the brightest light. I think it's true. I couldn't help but think that he was the brightest light, not me. He shone brighter than the sun in my eyes, and I'm certain that other women were after him too. I had no doubt that soon enough I would be the target of a whole lot of jealousy. But I loved him more than anyone, and he loved me more than anyone. I wasn't worried about it. How many insects do you think are left? Not anymore. There were sure more to come, but that didn't matter to us. Nothing would stand in our way. I wouldn't really consider Mahiro a pest, but okay. What in the world? Oh, goodness gracious. Alright, yay! Gallery time. Oh, when he was like, this is mine. Mine, no touch. We really have really long bangs, so I have to think about that. He was so good at putting on makeup. I love a guy who can do your makeup for you, right? Pinning us down. I love it when there's pictures of us being pinned down. I don't know why, I just like it. Oh, our kiss outside of work. I think this was no, is this the good ending? Yeah, it's the one before that was the best ending. And then here's the one from the extras. Oh my gosh, he's just so close. But I love it. I love him. He's adorable. Alright, so that wraps up with everything with Mr. Saijo. Or is your first name Sadayoshi? Well, anyway, Mr. Saijo's, we're done with Mr. Saijo. So sad. No more Mr. Saijo, so all we have left now is Ryo Kaido and Akihito Hyoga, and I actually forgot to check before doing this video on who's supposed to be coming next. So since you guys are getting this video and it won't show up till about next week on Tuesday, I'll put it in the Sunday video, the vlog video, who we'll be doing. So definitely leave me some comments down below on who you want to see next, and I'll count it towards the vote. That'd be great. It'll help me because I don't know who to choose. I don't know. They're both interesting. We've at least seen them in all the other chapters, so it'll be good to get to know more about them. So let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye. Kaze out.